Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Turn Order Warped, Season 2, Episode number 8. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. So, Betty's been given a pretty shitty assignment. Betty, you head to the area where the gorilloids have sort of been stationed on the ship. They've been assigned some quarters. Most of the tour and whatnot for the gorilloids has sort of it's mostly over, but there have been a few gorilloids that have sort of been stationed on the ship. They've almost created like a whatchamacallit?
Nest?
Embassy.
Embassy. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. They've created an embassy
you could fuck
on
a
the
gorilloid.
ship. So the gorilloids that have stayed on the ship are the one that Simon and Nova met initially, the gorilloid known as Volca. And I think that he's probably tried to reach out to you a few times, Simon. Would you have responded?
Yeah. For them, probably, because policy is within my duty, and I don't want to get my ass chewed out by military fucks, so, yeah.
Yeah, I think
I would go speak to them.
I think Volca has been Volca's from what you understand that he's communicated. Volca is one of their scientists, so he's been like really interested in whenever you talk about your psionic capabilities, because the whole concept is sort of beyond him. Like he's been very curious about it. He's been asking you a lot of questions about it, and like. He's kind of gotten to the point where he's like probably being a bit annoying about it, I'd say. And more often than not, like he'll try to like suggest like maybe you guys go get some food or something, because they eat a lot. They probably have like seven or 8 meals a day, I'd say at least. Like decent sized meals, like smorgasbords kind of levels of food.
This is why the toilet's broken. They basically just do, it's just like, thunk.
Oh yeah, they've been upgraded to the Ogron toilets for sure.
But there's still a couple that, they use the wrong one, and it's just like,
yeah.
you walk in and just go, ugh.
I think they've probably got like a completely different system too, so the whole concept of the toilet is like throwing them off. Probably.
So get last.
So we sit on it.
They don't know how to use the 3 shells.
Yeah, they're kind of crouching on the toilet and shitting off, beside it.
So you've probably been like bothered a few times by this, by Volca. Try to like get you to show him different parts of the ship and whatnot. He's just constantly asking you questions about, where your powers came from and that kind of thing. So when you head to the area with their facilities, Betty, I think you get there and you I don't think you've probably met Volca yet. You don't know who this person is, but it's one of the gorilloids that's sort of stationed here, and you can see that Volca is I forget what kind of what hair color he had. I want to say it was brown. I can't remember, but they have like very pink faces, and their nostrils are kind of like where their cheeks are. They're very like wide faced.
So they look like they've basically walked into something.
Kind of. Very like wide face, like I think like kind of they have very different cheekbones. I think you'd see like different cheekbone facial structures for them. Some with like very pointy cheeks, and some with kind of like more flattened ones. And Volca has like a very wide face and sort of like pretty sharp cheekbones, with the nostrils just kind of like right there. And you can see that they're sort of. I'd say there's probably like 3 gorilloids sort of talking to probably some of the other maintenance staff around, like right outside. You can see there's I'd say 2 Boreans and an Ogron that are kind of there having a chat with them, and the Ogron is being kind of loud and says,
No, you need fresh, big toilet. Big one. Flush. The big, feces. Big. For us. What is difference? One go down, one no. Go down? Yes, go down. Take waste. Do you not have people to take this?
At this point, Betty's going to rock up, just wave a little kind of like trowel at him and be like, right, just here to take a sample, don't mind me.
Sure. Give me, I think just give me, I mean, you're not trying to be stealthy. Give me a charisma check.
She has a poop trowel.
I don't want to know what that looks like.
It's a trowel with a flat bottom, but rounded edges, so you can really get into the crevices.
A 5 on a 3d6. Yeah, I think when you walk up, one of the other gorilloids, not Volca, one of the other ones, I'd say probably like white fur, and sort of like I'd say probably like a darker complexion. Probably walks up like flattened cheekbones, and they're short. They're probably your height, but wide and huge, like leg-sized arms. And very thick around the midsection, one walks up to you and says,
Where do you go?
Well, I'm here to take some poop out of the toilet, ain't I?
Poop? What?
Feces.
See? What do you take? You clean?
Yeah, that's right. Because the toilet don't work, because there's too much poo in it, so I'm taking some of the poo out so the toilet will work again. That's my job, innit? I'm maintenance. I'm here to maintain the toilet by taking some poop out and then making sure it flushes again, so all the rest of the poop will do.
Who does she go to this poop?
and like the other maintenance people that are there kind of like look at you. One of the Boreans probably like goes wide-eyed and just kind of dips around, hides behind the Ogron.
Oh, right, Jeffrey, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in ages, if you know what I mean.
I'm fine.
Good. How's the rash?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, all right then. I think you should, as long as you've been talking about it with anybody else you've been sleeping with.
I don't want to talk about it.
That was not a pleasant surprise, let me tell you. I don't
It
know.
wasn't my fault. I never had no rash.
Bloody did.
Oh, no.
What would your mother say? Our mother say about you lying about a thing like that, eh, Jeffrey?
I didn't have no rash. I told you many times I didn't have none until I saw you.
Bollocks! Bollocks! Anyway, I'm here to do a job, so we can talk about this later, Jeffrey. We'll call you Itchy from now on, shall we? Right, anyway.
I didn't have no rash, I swear.
Have you been using that cream?
I've been using every cream I got.
Right, okay, good. That's fine then, as long as you're not passing it on to anybody else, because that's bad manners,
I
that
didn't
is.
pass
Anyway.
nothing to no one. I woke up and you were there. I don't even know how it happened.
Bollocks! Anyway. Bloody plausible deniability.
That's where the rush was.
Right, anyway. I'm here to do work. Do you mind, Jeffrey? God, honestly, some people. Right. I just can't keep it professional. Right, anyway. Just making a pleasant inquiry. You had to make it personal, didn't you? You had to make it personal.
She's fine to collect as much poop as you want.
All right then. I'll be getting on then, shall I?
Yeah, go collect that poop.
Oh, you gonna I hope collect that poop.
The gorilloid just kind of like. The gorilloid kind of like looks at you and says,
You mating.
What?
Mating with this one.
Oh, right.
Smell.
Oh, I did. Well, I did, but like, honestly, I wouldn't again. It was a bit, it was a bit unhygienic in certain places, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Was that a laugh? Ryan? I'm Betty, by the way. Nice to meet you. Hold out a hand, like, right.
this like giant hand, like you put your hand like in the palm, and it just kind of leaves it there.
Right, you're supposed to shake him like this. There we go, like that. There you go. God, he's enormous. How big is your? Never mind. I don't want to know. Anyway, no. Anyway, right. Anyway, I'm here to. I should probably. Yeah, I should have maybe. Yeah. Anyway, right. I'm just gonna go and collect the rest of this poop now. You probably got a little. I want to go wash your hands there. Anyway. Yeah. So I'm here.
Next week, the gorilloids worship Betty as a god.
Right, so I'll just be here with it. Right, I've basically got a fucking jar and a trowel. I'm just like, I went, right, I really should fix this while I'm here. So let's just get the. Okay, I've got the. Just pull it like a drain rod out with a little bottle brush on the end. I'm just like, right, let's just
The
get
snake.
this down. Yeah, basically, I'm like, right, let's just. And then. Oh God, what have you people been eating?
Give me a maintenance plus your intuition.
Okay, it's 46 then.
13. Oh, this is a difficult job. This is going to take you a while.
That's fine. So I'm just there like, right,
Okay.
Can you do me a favor? Can you just pull this for a sec? Just gently, just pull it and push it. Yeah, there we go. I need a bit of extra. There we go. Right, now, and 1, 2, 3. Right. There we go. We're making progress. Oh, I heard a noise. I don't know if it's a good noise or a bad. It was a glooping noise. You might want to stand to one side. I'm not sure exactly.
Outside, Jeffrey starts to cry.
Yeah, I'm just like, right. Well, it made a noise. Right. We're going to try a flush. This might end badly. I'll just put this jar out of the way a second. Right. Oh, no, he's overflowing. Right, okay, quick. No, there we go. Oh, God. Right, here we go. Oh, it's getting watery. I think we're getting there. Yeah, right, okay. And this continues in this vein because I'm not going to
keep making those hand gestures, Fuzzy. Just keep making those hand gestures.
Yeah, the GIF generators are gonna have a good time for sure. So
I can roleplay an entire toilet unblocking because
Sure.
I've been. I just don't want to.
Do it slowly.
So, you spend some time doing that. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Ferris, you have. I think that you've kind of gone down to the planet. You are down on the planet right now, sort of just helping the colony pod set up sort of help set up their sort of defenses, and they've got the equivalent of sort of drones to fly around and sort of protect the colony pod. There are, I'd say, the equivalent of 50 drones that fly around. They're about the size of, I'd say, a dog, like a small dog, maybe, something along those lines. And they have kind of like rudimentary defenses. They're not really meant to be like able to fight a war for anybody or anything. But there are there's a platoon of Marines that have sort of been stationed there. There are a total of about 250 people. The colony is... They've chosen an area of the planet which, from what you can tell, is mostly covered in jungle. There are large bodies of water, but they have these sort of water-based plants that grow up out of the equivalent of their oceans. So they're kind of like these really brightly colored plants. I would say maybe some purples and some greens and stuff are really popular kind of colors that you see around in these plants. They're all just kind of spread out from the ocean. They have kind of almost like an umbrella canopy. It looks like the water kind of from rain or whatever just kind of like pours off the canopy. And they've got this really interesting look about them where they kind of collect the water. The gorilloids have utilized these plants to help them with their water supply.
Okay.
They grow nearby the large bodies of water, and they grow inside the actual oceans as well. So they actually go down like really far into the ocean. Some of them can go about 150 meters deep down into the ocean. It's very interesting.
What's that in feet?
In feet, it's 3 times as much, so 450.
I'm joking.
450 feet, Fuzzy.
So one thing when I'm down here, I want to learn of the planet's inhabitants other than the grilloids. Like what dangers are there? Like what's nice, what's mean, what lives in the ocean, what's edible? Just kind of like that special forces kind of like questions I would ask in my head to kind of know the terrain. Like, what if I get stuck down here? You know.
So one thing that the gorilloids have been complaining about is probably the food on the Arcadia, and how limited the fruits and vegetables are. The planet is very the fruits and vegetables on the planet are very abundant. There are prey animals, but the prey animals are mostly there's actually probably like a decent amount of insect-like animals on the planet. So the Sik'Rit being sort of a clashing with the gorilloids is almost familiar to them because their natural environment. There are a lot of different kinds of bugs, and there's some of them are pretty big. Most of them are non-flying. A lot of them are land-based. The gravity is really high. So when you're not in the colony pod, you actually have to use like a gravity belt. Otherwise, you kind of just have to deal with high gravity, in which case you move very slowly.
Like how like compared to Earth's gravity, what's how much?
It's considered high gravity, but it's livable.
Yeah.
Let me see what the actual number is. What we
I'm not doing like Goku training out there.
Yeah, it's about 2 times Earth's gravity, so it's pretty severe. It's pretty severe. You'd be like crawling for all intents and purposes if you were trying to like get around without a gravity belt.
Start training out there like push-ups. No.
Have you ever done like farmers walks with a ton of weight, with a yoke or anything?
Yeah,
it's it's not fun.
So with all that, like I'm just making sure their defenses are up. What I want to do, I like go to the grilloids and I was like, can you guys gather up a bunch of fruit that I can take up to the ship that the replicators can scan, so we can have these types of fruit, so when you guys come up there you can eat it. You guys have been complaining about that like quite often.
So the gorilloid that you've been talking to, his name is Dovat. Dovat has sort of been like he's been sort of like the liaison for the colony pod. He's the guy that's kind of in charge of making sure that the colonists that are settling on Edie's is it's sort of like a peaceful transition for them, and they're kind of able to get around a little bit easier. Yeah, there is a denser atmosphere. Yes, absolutely. The gorilloids seem to have like a more complicated respiration system. And they were able to breathe on the Arcadia without any problems. You can breathe, but it's probably like very difficult for you.
It's like being in Florida.
I would say at least it's probably way worse than that. But
Yeah.
it's very heavy and difficult to breathe in general. When you're in the colony pod,
That's what cats do when they pant.
yeah. And inside the colony pod, obviously, the atmosphere is much more breathable. Most of the people that are there, if they decide to go out for extended periods of time on Edie's, they probably wear like breathing masks to help them just kind of filter the atmosphere. I think when they're in the colony pod, it's just kind of normal atmosphere, normal gravity.
Okay.
So just kind of shoring up the defenses and whatnot. The liaison that you've met with, Dopot, has basically, it's one of the first things that the Gorilloids did. He says,
Gorilloids, happy to give many fruit and vegetable to your people. Your fruit is without nutrient.
Well, we're always looking for more nutrients. I mean, like, but if the replicator can replicate it, I mean, that's like an infinite amount right there.
Your commander give basic replicator technology to us. We have 10.
Yeah, they're fantastic, aren't they?
Amazing.
We'll make sure that you guys get caught up to speed with the same level of technology that we have, and teach you how to use it and how to advance it on your own as well.
The commander was not as forthcoming as you.
Well, I mean, you have to earn our trust, but, so far so good. You guys have been very open with us.
Good. We worry about Sik'Rit.
I'm worried about them too, but we're studying them, trying to figure out what we can do, and we'll have something figured out. If anything, we know weak points on the transports.
This is good. But many secret not come this close before.
Do you know where their homeworld is?
No.
I mean, that's one thing we need to find. But that's a conversation for another time.
Very well. Can I help with any other thing?
No, I think my people are getting situated. As I said before, make sure they're all caught up to speed on what to look out for, like what dangers they can find on the planet or by the water, if they're out that far, and what the giant insectoids are attracted to. They might not be big to you, but fuck, they're big to me, man.
Sik'Rit. Many kinds we have seen. 5.
How many did he say before? How many did I find out before? It was like 2 other ones, right?
I think that you've probably gotten the same information by now that the others have. Especially since you heard about the chameleon sort of ferret type creatures. You can sort of add up the numbers. They're the transport bugs chameleon sort of ferret Sik'Rit, and the sort of fighter type, like the warrior types, and you've been briefed about the two others that the Gorilloids have seen.
Mm-hmm.
But from what Dr. Icarus has told you, there seems to be a very large possibility that there are many more different species.
Okay. So I'll be like, yes, there seems to be that many, and I really hope that we can figure out this problem together, our colony ship and your race, and we can form this alliance and do great things. And I hold out my hand.
Giant
And
hand.
I like grab his like finger and like try to shake it. I'm like, I don't know how big his fucking hand is.
His hand is like, I would say like the size of 3 hands, probably. Like it's massive.
Okay, yeah, like it's a very like
It's like a dinner plate.
Delicate.
It's like a dinner plate.
Okay, and like I do the shaking thing. It's like, I don't believe you guys have a salute here, so I'll just do a handshake.
Do you wish our custom on you?
What's your custom?
Show.
And he sort of like spins you around so that your back is facing him. And he sort of like starts to put his like hand on your head and just kind of like puts his hands through your fur, kind of like doing this kind of motion through your fur, like almost
is he getting behind the ears? Is he scratching
oh,
behind my
yeah,
ears?
yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. Just kind of doing that. And you can hear him like,
wait, is there things on me?
Very tasty. Good.
Well, that's a very enjoyable custom.
Yeah.
Well, Dovat, I hope to work more with you later in the future. But I think I should load up the shuttle and start making my way back up and get these on board for the other Gorilloids that are probably hungrily waiting for these.
Good. Yes. Tell Volka. Volka is stupid. He will like.
I'll make sure I'll reiterate that it's from you, because I don't want him to beat me up, because you'd probably crush me.
Crush.
Okay, and then I'm like, see you later, Dovat, and then start making my way.
okay. So generally the colony seems pretty well set up. The colony pods are pretty much self-contained. They have a kind of have like a dome to them that looks like almost like a spider web kind of various components laced all along the dome. It's like hex shaped. It's sort of like a hex shaped system all along the dome.
Quick question before we do that, have I seen Nova down here?
Yeah, you've probably seen her around. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I acknowledge her, if we're just both too busy.
She's told you, that she's going to be stationed down here or whatever.
Mhm.
She probably sent like a quick message because she doesn't know you that well, but
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna load up the shuttle and make sure everything's okay, and then head back up.
yeah, the Marines have just kind of been doing like various scouting patrols and whatnot around the colony. I think the location that the Gorilloids and the colony detail have sort of worked out was kind of like, I guess, the least thick area of the jungle that's kind of away from the main population centers. The way that the Gorilloids, by the way, have sort of established their buildings, they kind of have like a very rudimentary kind of look to them. They're almost like mud huts. They're very simple. They're built out of a lot of clay. There's a lot like of very different kinds of soil, I think, that you've seen in this area.
Yeah.
You've seen like sort of like almost like that Arizona kind of like red clay kind of look. And a lot of the homes seem to be built out of that. There are homes that are sort of scattered all around, and like I think the major population centers probably have like larger sort of clay structures, and as far as transportation goes, there seems to be a kind of most of the things are on the ground, just because of the extreme gravity. And they don't seem to have like a lot of anti-gravity technology, so things kind of have like all-terrain vehicles and that kind of thing. Generally kind of slow. There's not really like a lot of fast stuff.
So one thing, like, how's their mining operations? Like, do they have metal?
They do have metal. Yeah, absolutely. They have metal. It's probably not as much as say like as you're used to. They have it. I think that most of their technology, like a lot of their technology, obviously is kind of made out of metal for just purely for conductive purposes and whatnot. But I don't think that there's a lot of metal around in their sort of aesthetic. Like it's not part of their sort of culture to sort of be flashy and use that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, so I'm opening up a data pad. I'm like taking notes on this, like their mining operations, because like coming from a mining colony, like I'm very fascinated if they have not reached like their resources yet, and like maybe bring this up to Betty or anyone else on the mining colony, or like seeing if they're going to launch operations down here that help like resources are abundant, like as much as like they have adobe huts and all that kind of stuff, maybe upgrading them and like showing them what kind of things.
Give me a charisma roll, and do you have anything like negotiation or
I do have negotiation.
Okay.
Let's see, 3d6.
Sure. So negotiation.
Also leadership as well.
So I'm gonna say whichever. I'm gonna say negotiation is gonna make more sense.
Okay.
So well, you can roll leadership. Actually, I'd say leadership.
They are literally about the same. So.
Yeah. So give me charisma plus either one of those. Okay, a 10 on a 3d6. So the information that you've sort of been given by Dovat has been a kind of general bit of info. He hasn't really gotten to specifics. The Grilloids are kind of keeping some things tight to the chest, but from what you can tell, they've got control of 3 different planets. There are not a lot of mining operations that are done specifically on this world. They have very limited metals. They have maybe a few that aren't really super useful for the construction of a bunch of different technologies. But generally, metal in their culture is very valuable. So it's not part of an aesthetic. It's just not used very often. And from what you're getting from the Grilloids in general, like they're very much focused on emotions and kind of like displays of power more than like flaunting like looks and whatnot. At least from what you've seen, they're very much an emotional people. And they've got 2 other planets in their control, and these planets are sort of used to gather resources from themselves. So that's kind of where they've been able to get some more metals and things for their ships and whatnot. But this planet in particular, its advantages in terms of resources are there's more agricultural resources here. The food available on this planet is very, very high. There's many different kinds of edible plants and medicines and things. There's many different kinds of medicinal uses for a lot of the creatures and plant life.
So would you say that like with how much like medicine and like without knowing the other planet, it might be kind of like information, but that how much food is here? Do you think they transport the food to the other planets, or?
Well, the information that you've gotten on the other planets is the other planets are not habitable. This is the only habitable planet that they control. The others are used for gathering resources
Okay.
and minerals and stuff.
Okay.
They've probably established like small mining operations. From what you can tell, as in terms of like technology, the gorilloids seem like not new to space, but like sort of rudimentary space travel. Like they might be able to travel like FTL-1 maybe.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm just like doing this in like my report and like observations and like adding that to my report, such as like, you know, the plants that gather water, how much abundance of food is on here. This is their main home world, right? If I have that correct?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That they don't really mine all too much. There might be untapped potential resources, since they only use it for certain things. Unlike our culture where we want to get as much as we can so we can make a larger standing army or you know, advanced technology and all that kind of stuff. I also want to like add to it, like this is like as I'm like autopiloting up to everything, that like I want to add like the defenses and maybe how to improve the defenses, and maybe like if there's like a group of people that they can like even without the grav belts like get used to the 2G. I think Ogrons are a great candidate for that, since they're a lot stronger, or Spartans. Well,
the larger the creature, the more that they're going to have to deal with the gravity. So not necessarily. The people that have sort of low centers of gravity, Boreans in general, are pretty good at dealing with like gravity.
Boreans. I put Boreans would be really well, or anyone like below a certain height with a low center of gravity, and also strong. But I would like to, and like eventually maybe getting a group of people that are used to the gravity, but the air is the other problem. But I'm just strengthening relations in general would like benefit us as far as I can tell. But I mean, like this is also just, you know, my musings and like a report, and it's written very, you know, it's not written like there's no gender like written in it. It's just very like straight to the facts. Like if this happened this way, or you know, this way, this is the benefits that we can get, and especially them as an ally, and also like writing in like how it is like piloting as well with the 2 times Earth's gravity, like how, you know, some maneuvers to use and all that kind of stuff, and like writing that out, and entering the atmosphere like the best angle to come in. It like, is it like 35 to 45, or is it like and all that kind of stuff. So I'm being very thorough, since it's like a new planet, and so we need as much information as we can.
Give me a logic plus let's see. You can probably do leadership, I'll say, on that one.
This is 3d6. Okay. Bam!
An 8. Okay.
Not too good.
Okay. So you've got like a very long-winded. I feel like you're just trying to write down everything, like a very long-winded, sort of a bit overblown kind of report, that you're trying to take down all this information. And it's just kind of overwhelming. You're not a scientist. You're doing the best that you can, but it's just a little bit too much information. And you're getting the impression that like Dr. Icarus probably would be a much better candidate to sort of figure all this shit out and give some kind of report. Definitely one of the science officers, maybe Scan or somebody else. But you write down what you can, and it's a lot of information. It's just kind of all scatterbrained info. It's like just a shit ton of bullet points all written down. And okay, sure. And you want to head off this berg?
I do want to head off because there's not the defenses are good. We got the supplies in. There's not really much for me to do down here. Maybe check in with Icarus and tell him how the planet is and all that kind of stuff, or give him a variation of my report.
Okay.
Yeah. and seeing what they're up to, because if the ship's not on fire, I feel a little bit safer. But if it's on fire, it's their fault.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so Simon, you hear a sort of loud like banging on your door.
I get up from like hugging my knees in the bed in the corner in the dark and like pre-squint because I know it's bright in the corridor and push the door open button.
You see a brown furred gorilloid standing outside. It's Volca again.
Hey Volca.
Simon, how you?
A little tired.
Do you want to go? Food?
Sure. I step out and close the door behind me.
Okay. You head out. Volca is wearing these guys kind of wear like pretty simple clothing, almost like canvas kind of wrapped things, right? And they're very simple, probably like brown or beige, whatnot, just kind of wrapped around, almost like a toga. And they Volca's got his hands on the ground and he's kind of like walking forward, and he says,
You still have ache in head?
Yeah, it happens a lot. Yeah.
Very well. Can you eat something to make better?
Yeah, probably.
We have many kind of fruit and vegetable that help with things. You try.
Are they safe for humans? Did the scientists check?
We are scanning now, but I think safe.
Okay, I'll try some.
Good. And do you think that your brain can see into my brain?
Only a little. I need to. I'm not really good at. Some people I think can see a lot deep in the brain. I just see emotions on the surface mostly.
Many emotion from grilloid people. Yes.
Yeah, more than any other race I've met. Except maybe when Spartans are angry, it's really, really strong.
Spartan.
he kind of sticks two giant hands up with like his fingers sticking up like horns.
Does Spartan have horns as well? They do, right? And to have the ridges.
Yep.
Yeah, and I kind of like put my fingers across my forehead. The
like old gorilloid. When gorilloid get old, get very angry.
Oh, okay. I like that the gorilloids have strong emotions. It feels honest.
Not when mating.
Sure.
He's just kind of looking. He's expecting like a very different reaction from you, like as you
Yeah.
guys are walking. It just gets real quiet for like a little while. Like you start walking down the corridors and whatnot. And you get to like one of the ship's cafeteria kind of areas, and you can see like a lot of the crew just kind of like looking in reaction to the gorilloid walking in, and. Like Volca kind of and we lost McLookin. Okay, so we were about to take a break anyway, but
Panic!
yeah, let's go ahead let's go ahead and take a break while McLookin's camera while he gets his shit straightened out. We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned for more Turner Warped episode 8 in season 2. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. 5 minutes.
Peace.